Hola amigos, Dr. Labrunicki. Today I'm going to give you 10 tips to be successful on the Spanish Praxis exam. All right, tip number 10. Communication's the goal. Share what you know. Then edit for grammar, accents, and spelling. So if you're speaking or writing, just give out as much information as you can. You want to be able to communicate what you know. And then after you've done that and you have time, then go back and edit for grammar, accents, and spelling. Next, outline, outline, outline. Did I mention outline? You want to make sure that you create an outline for your constructed responses. That way you can give a introduction, a body of what you want to say, and a conclusion so that it all makes sense, so that it's not all just jumbled up, and it will help you communicate better. So before you start speaking, before you start writing, just take a few moments, put down a quick outline of what you want to say, and then speak and write and fill in what you want to say based on your outline. Tip number 8, for the constructed response portion, whether it be writing or speaking, there may be portions where you're asked to give your opinion. So some ways to do that, you could start off with saying el texto dice es importante and put it in quotation marks, or you might say en mi opinión, or yo creo que, I believe that, or in my opinion. So that's a way to give a setup for how you can support what you believe with your opinion or from an example that you can think of. Tip number 7, know thy exam. I'm going to put a link for the Praxis site where you can go and research that a little bit more in depth and do some practice activities, but you want to memorize the instructions for each section of the exam for a couple reasons. Number 1, that's going to save you time on the test. You're not going to have to read through it and try and figure out what it's talking about. So you're already going to know the instructions, so you're going to see them, you're going to know what to do, and you can get to work either preparing your outline for speaking or starting to read and give you a little bit more time that way. And it's also going to prevent any confusion so that you're not addressing the wrong task. You know exactly what you need to do, and you can get started on it if you have the instructions for each section of the exam memorized. Tip number 6, as you're studying, create a vocabulary list of words that are new to you. So I've done that for you in the previous lesson number 5, but you should be doing it as well. And then you can create a Quizlet or however you like to study vocab, and that's going to help you be better at the exam is if you create your own vocab list of words that are new to you while you study. Tip number 5, be familiar with how to write a formal letter in Spanish or a formal email. And so a way to create an opening is with estimado or estimada, which translates as esteemed or dear, but that's a formal way to begin a letter. And then a formal way to end a letter is with atentamente, sincerely. So make sure that you know those words. And estimado, estimada needs to match up with the gender of the person that we're communicating with. Tip number 4, take notes during the listening section. You'll need to refer back to them. You'll need to answer questions. And so it's very important that you take notes while you listen. Tip number 3, for the selected responses, they're going to give you an authentic article that you're going to read. And so you should be practicing reading with authentic articles in preparation. But when you come to that portion, you want to read the questions first, then do the reading, then answer the questions. That's going to make the most effective and efficient use of your time, so you know what you're looking for before you even start reading. So people who are not trained in this, people who do not practice in this, they're going to read and then answer the questions. But the first step before that is to look at the questions before you even begin reading. Tip number 2, be familiar with the usted and ustedes forms of address in Spanish. So typically you're going to use the to form in your everyday life, but they want to see if you can use the usted and ustedes forms. So if I were going to say a ti for you, in the usted form I want to say a usted or a ustedes. And instead of saying tu or tus, I'm going to say su or sus. And remember, that's based on what is being shown ownership over. Is that singular or is that plural? And our last one, te, changes to ley or lace. And our last tip is to answer every question, especially for the selected response questions. Make sure that you're circling in every single bubble. Don't leave any bubbles empty. If you leave it empty, you've got a 0% chance of getting it correct. Even if you don't know, hopefully you do know. But if you do fill in the bubble and you're not sure, you've got a 25% chance of getting it correct. For the constructed response section, again, make sure that you're answering as much as possible, speaking for the full time, making sure that you're writing the minimum amount of words, and never answer in English. That's going to give you a score of 0, or respond with I don't know. That's going to give you a score of 0 in that section, or yo no sé. Again, that's a score of 0. So make sure that you're answering every question, whether it be the selected response section, or the speaking section, or the writing section. It's very important that you do that. All right, and that has been our 6th lesson in this 6-part series. If you missed any of the other ones, go back and preview them. So in lesson 1, we talk about what is the Praxis exam format. Lesson 2 is interpretive communication, the reading and listening sections. Lesson 3 is writing. Lesson 4, speaking. Lesson 5 is essential vocabulary. All right, thanks for tuning in. This is Learning Spanish with Dr. L. Go ahead, click that subscribe button. It's going to give you free access to all my videos. All right, adios, chao, pronto y buena suerte en el examen de Praxis.